Hello, my name is Anna and this is Yogana. Today we're going to be doing a flow for sensitive knees. So if you've had any kind of knee injury in the past, or if you just have really sensitive knees in general, when you notice you're kneeling and it's really tender, this is going to be a really awesome practice to strengthen the areas surrounding the knee, to give the knees the love and support that it needs. So if you have any kind of block or bolster or pillow or blanket or even a book in place of a block, those are going to come really in handy during this practice. But if you don't have any of that, no worries. If you just have a spot on the floor and something comfy to wear, then we'll go ahead and get started. Alrighty guys, we'll go ahead and get started on our backs for this practice. So if you want to, again, roll up that blanket, that nice thick blanket if you have one, or a pillow or a bolster, that's going to be towards the end of the mat, but just in place where your knees are going to land once you make your way back. So we'll go ahead and place the knees over that supported blanket or bolster and then make our way back. So this is a really good option for Shavasana, that final resting pose, but it's also a really great way to start practice. So you'll feel that support of whatever it is underneath your knees. We'll make sure those heels are nice and planted on the floor so they're not just hanging out in thin air. It looks like Eric might join our practice for tonight. And we'll let the toes fall out to the corners of the mat. The arms fall out beside you, and then the palms turn to face the ceiling. So we'll just begin practice like we always do with a little breath work, just really grounding in, coming into the moment, eliminating the distractions of the day or the week ahead. Sealing down the lips, taking deep breaths in and out through the nose. Good, just one final deep breath. On the next inhale, we'll start to take the arms all the way overhead, find that deep morning stretch, reach really far behind you, point the toes, and then start to bring the bottoms of the feet in, maybe push that bolster or blanket out of the way, the knees out nice and wide. And then bringing those heels in towards the body are going to get you more into the hips and the low back. But taking those toes up towards the front of the mat are going to be a little bit less intense. So this might be a little intense to start just because this is our first hip opener of today's practice. So just gauging where your body's at, what your body's calling for, what it needs, and adjusting accordingly. I'm just kind of here to give suggestions. You're always free to take any modifications, any breaks you need as we practice. So again, we'll just find that breath and settle into this posture, letting the knees feel nice and heavy so that they're completely relaxed and there's no tension there. Good, we'll just take one final breath here. Good, we'll start to close the knees like a book. Start to let the knees fall over to the left as we roll ourselves up, coming into a comfortable seat with the feet planted. The knees a little bit wider than hips distance. Good. We'll find a nice tall spine here, and then we'll just find a seated cat-cow. So sometimes when our legs are crossed in that seated position, that can feel really intense already on the knees. So we're not gonna overdo it here. We're just gonna find a nice tall spine, seated just like this with the legs out wide. And then just find a slight opening and closing of the spine. So nothing crazy. We're gonna press the heart forward, let the shoulders roll back, gaze maybe opens up towards the ceiling. Belly presses forward, hips aim towards the back of you. And then we'll exhale as we round, letting the shoulders round in, the belly press back, the spine arches. Good. We'll inhale as we open up. Exhale as we close. Inhale, open. 2 more rounds here. Just moving with your breath, imagining your torso is just one big old lung. Just moving with your breath. Good. Next time you open up, we'll go ahead and make our way up. So we're just gonna move through tabletop just for a moment. Maybe not even let the knees touch the ground. We're gonna tuck the toes, lift the hips, find a down dog. So we'll slowly start to pedal out the dog, dropping one heel, bending the opposite knee, switching sides. Just moving back and forth, warming up the hamstrings. Good. And then evenly pressing those heels towards the mat. And slowly walking up 1 foot at a time, coming to the front of your mat. So moving those props out of the way for now. Good. Coming into a forward fold. We'll keep the knees nice and soft to start. Let the hang nice and heavy. So grab opposite elbows, shake out the head yes and no, so that we're really fully releasing everything in the upper body. And then letting those backs of the knees open up just naturally with gravity. So keeping them soft to start. Good. On the next exhale, we'll release the elbows. And then inhale as we slowly roll ourselves up, coming into mountain pose like a rag doll. Rolling the shoulders back, finding mountain pose, Tadasana, palms facing forward. Good. And then we'll inhale the arms high. Exhale, palms come together at prayer. Good. We're gonna get into the upper shoulders a little bit, so just finding a twist. We're gonna pull that right arm back behind us like we're pulling a bow and arrow. Reach that left arm towards the front of you. And then keep that left hip aiming towards the back. So both hips are in line still. The left hip's gonna wanna come forward a little bit. See if you can just press it back, readjust, and then let the gaze go over towards the right or even over the right fingertips. It's gonna be really, really intense on that right shoulder. Good. Exhale, close that right hand to the left like a book. And then inhale, pull that left arm back like a bow, all the way behind you. Releasing and checking in with that right hip. Shoulders are in line, fixing your gaze wherever it feels good. Exhale, closing the hands like a book. Good. From here, we're gonna find a wide-legged stance on the mat. So go ahead and take a nice wide stance wherever you feel is right. And then we're gonna take the arms out to measure. So arms out at a T. The wrists and the ankles are gonna line up with each other. So if you kind of look and see they aren't quite lined up with each other, just adjusting, letting the feet go out a little bit wider or come in a little bit closer. Good. Once you get all set up, we'll roll the shoulders back. Find a nice tall spine. Inhale the arms high. Exhale as we hinge at the hips and fold forward. So finding a wide-legged forward fold. Releasing here and walking the hands forward. We're gonna find a restorative down dog option. So the hands might walk off of the mat, it's okay. We'll just press into the mat, press the hips high. So we're just like in that down dog, but with the feet super wide. That heart melts towards the back. Release the head, shake it out. Beautiful. Feels so good. You'll feel that strength in the ankles kind of helping you stay grounded. And then that goes all the way up to the backs of the knees, the calves, the thighs. Really good lower body stuff. Good. On the next inhale, we'll walk the hands back in just underneath the shoulders. And then inhale, find a half lift, so maybe hands on the hips, find that flat back. Exhale, refold. Keeping the hands on the hips or maybe grabbing opposite elbows to help release the head, or just letting the hands kind of hang out on the ground if they touch. Good. Or maybe grabbing onto that block or book, placing the hands on that prop. Good. Releasing the block if you grabbed it, releasing the arms, taking the hands to the hips, and then inhale as you slowly roll yourself back up to that wide-legged stance, rolling the shoulders back and heel toeing the feet all the way in to meet each other. Good. So coming back to Tadasana, mountain pose, roll the shoulders back, palms face forward. We'll move into chair pose. So inhale the arms high. Exhale, sit the glutes back like you're sitting in an imaginary chair. The weight's gonna go back into the heels. So if you look down, you should be able to see your toes over your knees still. If not, kind of let the hips sink a little bit further back. It shouldn't be super easy. It's really strengthening in the thighs and the glutes, which is what we want for that support in the knees. So we'll hang out here, breathe here, activate the core, maybe lift up the toes. Exhale, fly the arms back, find airplane arms. Inhale, arms high. Exhale, fly them back one more time. Sink the hips a little bit lower. Inhale, arms high. Exhale, fly it down. Lift the hips, straighten through the legs. If you're not at the front of the mat, we'll make our way there. And then move through a flow. So we'll inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, step that right foot back. Find a low runner's lunge just for a moment. Keeping that right knee lifted, the shoulders roll back. Drop the hips nice and low, feel that deep stretch in the right hip. And then exhale, press that left foot back, find a high plank. Lower down, chaturanga. Bent elbows, elbows aiming towards the back of the mat. Inhale, press the heart up, the belly up. The only thing that should be touching the mat are the bottoms of the hands and the tops of the feet. Rolling the shoulders back. Exhale, tuck the toes, lift the hips, find down dog. Good. From here, we'll kick that right heel high, find three-legged down dog. Exhale, bring it up and all the way through. Again, touching down halfway, maybe grabbing the back of the calf, pulling it all the way through. Finding that low runner's lunge on this side. Dropping the hips low, feeling that really deep stretch in the left hamstring. Rolling the shoulders back. And then opening up, find warrior two. So dropping that left heel 45 degrees, windmill the arms open. Arms are out at a T, shoulders are rolled down the spine. They're just over the hips, so you're not reaching too far forward, too far back. Good. And then we'll inhale, straighten through that front leg. Lift the hips, arms come up overhead. Exhale, drop it down, warrior two. Inhale this time, peaceful warrior. Drop that left hand down the back leg. Right arm reaches back. Breathe into that right side of the torso. Inhale, bring yourself back up. Straighten through that front leg, move into triangle pose. So again, block might come in handy here. If you want to grab onto it first, if you don't have one, no worries. And then start to reach forward and down with that right fingertip, that right hand, placing that block on the inside of the right leg, or maybe just letting your hand rest on the leg. The shoulders are going to be stacked. So you're sliding between two panes of glass here, really, really flat with the torso, the shoulders, fixing your gaze on the ground to stay grounded, or starting to fix your gaze up towards the sky to challenge your balance. From here, we're gonna close that left hand, move into pyramid pose. So we're gonna take a step in with the left foot. Feet are on two separate planks here. So that left foot's aiming towards the top left corner, the right foot's aiming towards the front, and they're on two different skis. So again, maybe grabbing onto a block, resting the hands on that block. If this is really intense on the hamstrings, it should be. But if it's a little too much, just grabbing onto that prop, lifting the ground up to meet you. Good option to find that pyramid twist if you want to take it a little bit deeper, keeping that left hand planted and then opening up with the right arm. So either reaching up towards the sky or placing that right hand on the low back, the sacrum, as the right shoulder rolls open. Good. Unwinding if you found that twist, lower down that right hand. We're gonna find a forward fold with the feet crossed. So again, this is really good with the block, but you don't have to have it. So that that right foot's gonna come over to the left side of the mat just slightly. That left foot's gonna come behind the right foot, and those pinky toes are gonna touch. Good. So grabbing onto that block, placing the hands on top for support. And then we'll all go ahead wherever the hands are. We're just gonna half lift, flat back. And then exhale, release, refold. Release the head. Good, and then last inhale. As we exhale, we'll release the block, uncross the feet, find that forward fold, pedal out the knees a couple times, feeling the difference in both sides. Inhale, circle sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, sit back into chair pose right away. So drop the hips low, weight back into the heels again, sink the hips maybe a hair lower this time. Fly the arms back. Good, inhale, arms high. Exhale, fly them back. Inhale, arms high. Exhale, fly it down. Forward fold. Good. Coming back to the front of the mat if you're not already there. And then inhale, half lift. Exhale, step it back with the right foot. Find that low runner's lunge. Drop those hips low. And then inhale, drop that right heel 45 degrees. Open up the arms at a T, sink the hips low. Open up in that left knee. Good. Warrior two. Inhale, we'll lift the hips, straighten through that front leg. Arms come all the way up overhead. Exhale, release the arms, warrior two. Inhale, peaceful warrior. Right hand goes down the back leg. Left arm reaches back. And then inhale, bring yourself back up, move into triangle pose. Straighten through that front leg, grab onto that block if you want. Right hand comes to the right hip, left arm reaches down. settles on the inside of that left leg, maybe on a block or just hanging out. Rolling that right shoulder back so the shoulders are in line, really nice and flat. Lifting that right arm high. Good, feeling really strong. You might feel a little bit tired already in the legs. Just know that's totally normal, totally okay. We're just building those muscles. So you might feel a little shaky. Just give yourself some grace here. Give yourself some patience to work those muscles, knowing it'll be worth it in the long run. Good, exhale, we'll close that right hand. Move into pyramid pose. So slightly bending in that left leg as the right foot comes forward. Right toes are aiming towards the top right corner. Left toes aiming forward. Using that block again if need be. We'll find that half lift. Hands up the legs, flat back. If you want to stay here, if that feels better than releasing, just stay here as long as you need to. Just making sure you're not applying too much pressure to the legs, like grabbing onto your left leg for dear life. Just kind of lightly hanging out here or touching the ground, releasing the head. Finding that twist if you did on the other side, grounding through the right hand, opening up with the left arm, maybe taking it behind you, placing it on the low back. Good, and then unwinding here, letting that left hand fall, taking that left foot over to the right side of the mat just slightly, and then taking that right foot behind the left, lining up those pinky toes. And you'll feel that deep stretch on the right hamstring. We'll inhale as we find a lift. Exhale as we refold. Good, uncross that right foot behind the left, come back to all fours in that forward fold. Inhale, circle sweep the arms high. Exhale, dive it down. Bend in the knees, we're gonna come into a little ball, make our way onto our backs. Good, hug the knees into the chest, a little rock and roll side to side, massage out the spine. And then from here, we're gonna get deep into the hamstring. So we'll extend that right leg, release it down to the mat, and then start to lift that left foot as you extend the left knee up towards the sky. So grabbing, maybe interlacing the hands behind the thigh or the calf or even the foot. And then just lifting the shoulders off of the mat as you grab slightly. And then pull that leg in, get a little into the core, just pulsate here. Good. And then also get that stretch in the hamstring. Good. From here, we'll lower down the shoulders and then take that left leg across the body, grabbing onto the calf with your right hand and pulling it across the body to the right. This is going to be really intense, maybe on the IT band, and then definitely in the left hip. We'll let that left arm fall out beside us. Just pull yourself over as far as it feels comfortable. No forcing. Inhale, bring that leg all the way back through, all the way over to the left side. Pressing that left leg open, grabbing onto that left shin, maybe using the wall as a prop if that is nearby somewhere. And then pressing down into that left shin with your left palm, really opening up in that inner left hip. Good, we'll bring that foot back through center, bend it back into the chest, and then release that left leg all the way down. Switching sides, bringing that right knee into the chest, and then starting to fully extend the leg. Grabbing somewhere on the leg, lifting the shoulders, and then just pulsating. Bringing the knee in towards your face, lifting that heart up. Starting to feel the strength in the core. Last time here. And then slowly release the shoulders. Cross the body with that right leg, grabbing onto the right shin. Pulling yourself only as far as it feels comfortable, letting yourself ground through the right arm. Making sure you're not rolling all the way onto the left hip, kind of losing control there. Staying on the left glute. And feeling that really intense IT band stretch, hip stretch. And then coming back through center, grabbing onto the right shin with your right hand, pressing yourself open nice and deep. Keeping that left sits bone grounded. And then releasing, coming back through center. We'll hug both knees into the chest. Give it a giant squeeze, maybe rock and roll side to side, roll out the ankles. And then finish off with happy baby. So grabbing the outer edges of the feet are pressing up towards the ceiling. We're gonna pull the knees into the chest, into the elbows, kind of towards your body. And then rock and roll side to side. Start to extend as you roll to one side, extending that leg, getting deeper into the hamstring, extending in the left leg as you roll to the left. Good, coming back through center, releasing the feet. And then this version of Shavasana, I'm gonna pick legs up the wall. So if you're near a wall somewhere, just go ahead and scoot the glutes up towards the edge of the wall. And then let the legs inch their way up. So just slowly adjusting. And then grabbing, once you get up the wall, we're gonna grab the opposite elbows or just somewhere along the forearms, wherever it feels good. So opening up in the shoulders, the heart. And then finishing off practice in this posture, just really letting fresh blood flow into the legs. Really releasing all that tension from standing on the legs all day, letting the knees come in the opposite direction, just letting gravity pull them the opposite way. Feel a lot of tension relief in the low back. Maybe you might even feel the blood vessels in the feet, just really releasing if your feet are super sore. Good. Not overextending the knees, being cautious of that, just checking in, softening the knees if they're kind of holding on. And then staying here as long as you need to. I wouldn't stay here longer than about 5 to 10 minutes, just gauging how you feel. Inversions are really, really nice, but we aren't meant to stay that direction, so just using your judgment, not falling asleep here. Thank you all so much for practicing with me today. It's been an honor. I hope this fulfilled your needs. Namaste.